Hey everybody, we just saw Ant-Man and the Quantumania of Madness.
And we're here to ask the question, is it worth watching? This will be a non-spoiler review, so don't worry about any of that.
Yeah, and many people, I think, are on the fence about whether to watch this movie based on several factors.
Primarily the very low critical scores.
And the mixed word of mouth. Just in our comments alone, we've gotten all kinds of views.
Very confusing. We were not going to actually watch it originally because we didn't really care that much, but then Jay released a really good video about why he wasn't going to watch it, so our video was kind of useless. So decided, what the heck, it's Saturday, pretty cheap tickets, let's go out and see it. So here's our review of the movie, real quick, no spoilers.
Starting off with the acting, it was nothing to write home about. Johnathan Majors does a fine job as Kang, but everybody else is just either fine or kind of meh.
The characters weren't great and not really well thought out, and the only character development that really happened in this movie was with a side villain. So that was very disappointing.
The story is rather simple and kind of contrived. Actually, scratch that. Very contrived. Nothing meaningful is accomplished, but there are some feel-good moments, but nothing really emotional, and the writing is full of cliches and tropes. If you've seen movies before, you will recognize half of this script.
The plot is also contrived and repetitive, especially at the end, but it is easy to follow, so the audience won't get lost unless they haven't seen either Loki Season 1, Doctor Strange 2, or Ant-Man 2. You have to watch at least 2 of these to really understand what's going on fully.
And as far as humor goes, there were a lot of mid-level jokes. The audience did laugh quite a bit in our theater, sometimes at the strangest things.
A guy dressed like a bee tried to kill me in my room when I was 6. I've never had a normal life.
I'd say overall, if you thought that Thor: Love and Thunder was funny, which I think had some good funny moments, this is not funny. But maybe you just have like really low standards in humor, maybe like watch bad comedians or something, but the humor really wasn't that good. VFX, about what you'd expect with Marvel, really. Some good, some not so good, and some really bad shots, of course, snuck in here.
What the hell is even that?
But I think just complaining about Marvel CGI at this point is kind of a waste of time.
As far as the quantum world that we spent a lot of the movie in, almost all the movie in, it's really colorful, but also at the same time rather desaturated. Lots of funny looking and bizarre creatures are mixed in with just regular people. It's like Star Wars. But quantum.
There was one scene that stood out as pretty good, or at least a lot better than the rest. Some kind of weird probability, singularity, storm, whatever's going on. I thought it was pretty enjoyable, but that's like the only real good scene of note, except for like a couple of Kang scenes, but that's like the main scene that I would point out and say that's a pretty good scene.
So, MCU Phase 5 has started, and in my opinion, it started with kind of a fizzle.
Overall, it seemed like a rather dispassionate cash grab that was only meant to further the storyline of the MCU Phase 5. So we're gonna have to go give this movie 3 Pym particles out of 10.
So, is this movie worth watching?
And should you go see it? Worth watching? That would depend on the ticket price, I think.
Overall, the experience isn't worth like a full AMC ticket of like $19, $20 or whatever. Go watch something else.
Or just see if you can find a cheap ticket. But I would generally suggest wait for Disney Plus. Should you watch this movie? Yes and no. For general audiences, if you want just another MCU outing and like, oh, I'm pretty sure that'll be fine, and you enjoy most of the movies that came out last year, then go ahead and see it. Most people in our theater liked it. And I think they had a pretty good time.
If you're a comic fan and a big MCU fan and you want to just keep up to date on all the MCU lore and stuff, and you love comic books and love the comic references, go ahead and see this movie. As we kind of mentioned earlier, this movie is engineered in such a way that it really just wants you to have to see this one in order to understand everything else. So it'd be a good idea to watch it at some point, just to keep up to date on the MCU.
But if you're a person who really values good storylines, great acting, and just a wonderful experience, then I would say don't bother. Because if you don't like other MCU movies or what they've been putting out recently, you're not gonna like this one. Just read a summary online or watch a recap that we might be making shortly, so that you know what happens in the future Marvel movies. But overall, I would suggest it if you like really high quality stuff, like, I don't know, The Godfather or something.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, this is no Captain America Civil War or Avengers.
Not really even as good as Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, it's just kind of there.
So in terms of worth watching, it really depends on who you are. For me, I'd say no. But for the average moviegoer, I'd say why not if you just want to have a fun little time.
But that's all we've got for non-spoilers. We'll have a spoiler discussion coming very soon. Go and click over here to see it.
And if you haven't seen the other movies before Quantumania, then you should go look at our recap. It's pretty fun. Have some of our friends on there.
But go ahead and let us know what you think of Ant-Man Quantumania, or as we like to say, the Quantumania of Madness, down below. If you haven't seen it, let us know whether this review has changed your opinion about whether you want to see it or not.
And regardless, he's Mio.
He's Keto.
And we'll see you either in the comments or another video.
Bye!